Hi, this is Mrs. A. I found a cute little story online that I'd like to share with you. It's about a community garden. Listen carefully because after each page, I'm going to pause it and ask you a question.
The community garden. Malik didn't want to go to work with his brother at the community garden. Gardens were full of dirt and bugs and worms.
Why did Malik not want to work in the garden? Was it because it was raining, or was it because the garden was full of dirt and bugs and worms?
Welcome, Malik. We've heard a lot about you, and we're so glad you could come help us today.
Where did Malik and his brother come to help? Did they come to the zoo, or did they come to the community garden?
Malik helped dig the earth so that they could plant seeds.
What did Malik help do in the garden? Did he help dig, or did he feed animals?
Malik learned how to water the seeds so they would grow into plants.
Why did Malik water the seeds? So he could jump in puddles, or so they could grow into plants?
His brother taught him to pull out the weeds around the plants so that the vegetables would have lots of room to grow.
What did they pull out so that the plants had room to grow? Did they pull out a wagon, or did they pull out weeds?
Malik learned to love how the garden smelled and how the dirt felt in his hands.
What did Malik feel in his hands at the garden? Did he feel fur from a pet, or did he feel dirt?
He saw the plants get bigger and bigger.
What did Malik see that got bigger and bigger? Did he see feet, or did he see plants?
Best of all, he made new friends. Friends he had never known or seen before.
What did Malik make that was new? Did he make new faces or new friends?
One day, Malik's brother showed him a plant full of red, ripe, round tomatoes. They're ready to be picked now, Malik. Go ahead, try one.
What red vegetable was now ready to be picked? Was it cherries or tomatoes?
And Malik picked one of the perfect tomatoes and took a big, juicy bite out of it.
What did Malik take a big bite out of? Was it an ice cream cone, or was it a tomato?
The next day, People from the neighborhood came to the community garden to get vegetables for their families.
What did the people come to get? Did they come to get books or vegetables?
There was a big feast at the community garden that night, and Malik knew he would come back to the community garden next spring.
Where will Malik come back to next spring? Will he come back to the grocery store or to the community garden? Well, it's Mrs. A again. I hope you enjoyed the story and were able to answer the questions. Now let me share my gardens with you. Take a look at what I have growing around my house. This is our little vegetable garden. If you see a dog running around in the backyard, that's my dog Dublin. And not all gardens have fences around them. Can you guess why we had to put a fence around ours? Could it be because of Dublin, who is hunting rabbits right now? I don't think you'll find any. So in our garden, we have marigolds. Do you know what this plant is going to be? Let's see. There it is. I hope you can figure out what that's going to be. I can't wait to get to use them. Oh, hello, Dublin. Hello, Dublin. Then in the story that I read for you about the farm, I talked about one of these. Do you remember what that's called? It's called a weather vane. It doesn't work, but it looks pretty in my garden. Then inside the garden, we have dill, which people use to make pickles. And we have more tomatoes growing. Some are getting really tall. And I'm not sure if you can see on this really big leafed plant, we are growing zucchini. And there's some flowers. Those taste good fried up too. Let's take a walk around. Our garden is full. Still looking to see if we can see a zucchini growing in my garden. You have to look way down in the bottom, but there's one. I think it's ready to be picked too. Then over here, these leaves are going to grow something purple. It's going to be an eggplant. Also in our garden, we have chives. I need to pull all the flowers off. Oh, Dublin's getting into trouble already. Can you hear her? I had my breakfast out at the table, and she's grabbing my breakfast bowl. Oh, do you see another zucchini ready to be picked? Way up in the middle. But one of the other things that we have to do in a garden is get rid of weeds. I have too many weeds. I'm going to have to come back out here and pick them. Pull them out. I'll show you a recipe for zucchini later. But right now I have to stop and go get the bowl from Dublin. But sometimes people don't have vegetable gardens at all. They have flower gardens. And this is one that I made this summer. I have beautiful flowers growing. and they love the sun. And sometimes the birds and the bees and the butterflies come to visit my garden. Do you see one here? Who came to visit my garden? Do you know what they're going to make? They're going to take that back to their hive and make honey. And then we'll have honey to put on our food. And here are some of the tools that I need for my garden. I have a hose to water my garden when it doesn't rain. I have a rake that I need to move dirt around, to get rocks out of the garden, and to get rid of leaves in the fall. And then on the other side, I have something really big. Do you know what that is? It's a shovel. And that is the shovel that I use to plant all of these things that are growing in my garden. And way up at the top is another tool. Do you know what that tool is? It's a watering can. I use that watering can to water my plants that are in flower pots, or if I have a plant that I don't want the leaves to get wet. You can see I'm still working on the garden on this side of the house. I am not finished. I have more work to do. Look at all of the weeds and the grass that I need to pull out of the roses. But I need to be careful in those roses because they have thorns. So here's a few things that I'm going to need when I'm working with roses. I need to wear gloves to protect my hands. I don't want to get poison ivy. I don't want bugs to bite me. And I don't want my hands to get so dirty. I have clippers. Here are the clippers. And I use those clippers kind of like scissors to cut plants. And then I have one more big garden tool right here. Do you know what that is called? The buckets are tools too, but I wasn't talking about those. That's called a wheelbarrow. I use it to carry heavy things and dump them in my garden. This is another part of my flower garden, and this is in the front yard. Do you see all of the different flowers? They don't all grow at the same time. Sometimes they grow early in the spring, and sometimes they grow now in the summer, and sometimes the plants like this one don't have their flowers yet. They'll have it later in the summer into the fall. Over on this side of my house, I have one more thing that I get food from in the summertime. Do you know what this is? It doesn't grow in the garden, but it's in my garden. Do you know what these are? I can't wait to pick them and eat them. They'll be so sweet and juicy. I had fun sharing my garden with you today. How many of the tools that I showed you do you have at your house? I would also love to see a picture of your garden if you have one. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.